Well, hi there. We're here live from HMPS26 here in Salt Lake City, Utah, a place, Brian, that you know very well. I'm sitting here with my friend Brian Gresh. Brian, just do a brief introduction. Share with the audience why you're here and what you do and why Salt Lake City is kind of in your own backyard.
Sure. Well, I'm here because I love HMPS. I think it's just the content, the people, the connections. That's always the main reason why I show up. I used to live here. I worked for many years at University of Utah Healthcare in the marketing space. So I am very familiar with Salt Lake and love it. So any chance I get to come back is I'm going to take it. What I do now, I work in Indianapolis for Community Health Network. I'm the VP and Chief Marketing and Communication Officer.
So you and I sat on a panel just right before we recorded this conversation, and we were talking about AI and AI governance and all that. I feel like any conference you go to nowadays, it's about AI. But this feels eerily familiar. You and I have been in this space for a while now. It feels like we're repeating ourselves. AI is just the technology du jour. How do you feel about that?
I think yes and no. So I think it is the new technology, and I think there are very similar threads to big moments where like search took off or social took off, right? But I think the pace of development and how fast it's moving is very different from those past trends. So I think that's what's probably causing the most anxiety and challenging us the most as marketers. But I do think we're going to see similar things play out. So if you look back to the search days, there were remember Lycos and those fantastic search engines, Jeeves, right? I think we're going to see some of these major players, especially in the chatbot space, consumer chatbot space, start to fall off. I think it's going to get a bit commoditized, and I think we're going to see a major player emerge. I mean, Google certainly has a shot at that. They're not going to go anywhere, obviously, but I think some of these models, they really do a lot of the same things, so it's who can gobble the market the fastest.
Right, but it's regardless of who owns it, we realize we have to address it today because everyone's out there using it. Our patients are, our physicians, our nurses are using these tools, whether we like to agree or not, right? They're in there and using that. So it kind of puts us into a unique position where we have to start to address this. So tell us a little bit about how you are looking at addressing this and approaching this.
Well, I've always just been naturally curious when it comes to tech. So I'm addressing it by making sure my team is 1, educated, 2, using the tools themselves, 3, kicking the tires. You can't use everything. There's always shiny objects and things, but I think we have an obligation to be as aware of all of the different tools out there. And again, some of those are going to filter out. So hopefully we pick the right ones and focus on the right ones. But I really do think it's just, just like last time, there's going to be leaders, there's going to be the followers. And there were a lot of people that got in on SEO early. There was a lot of people that were still publishing their long URLs and hoping people would type that in. So, I think it's going to be similar.
Regardless, though, it's having an impact on the overall patient care experience.
Sure.
Right?
Yes.
So let's break that down a little bit, because when we talk about that experience, the sacredness between the provider, the physician, the nurse, and the patient themselves, maybe the patient family members, that dynamic has shifted with AI. People are starting to show up now, not with just stuff printed off of Google. They're showing up with personalized, unique care plans. Right? And how do you see that impacting that relationship that they have with the provider?
Well, I'm not a clinician, so I can't speak to how that's happening in the office itself during the visit. But it certainly is happening, right? We're hearing anecdotally that's going on. I think though that we have to, as marketers too, we have a big influence on the journey. We have to help protect that relationship that the patient has with the doctor. So that means, how do we use technology to create more opportunities for the physician and that patient to interact? Things like ambient listening in the office. I mean, you talk to clinicians, they really like it. They don't like it just because they don't have to write things, or type things. They like it because it's starting to get them back to why they got into medicine, which is to have that connection with the patients.
Right.
So, if somebody wants to bring in a care plan, great, but maybe now because of, say, ambient listening, the physician actually has time to go through it with the patient, right? As opposed to just,
looking over their shoulder.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that's still kind of TBD,
Yeah.
but I'm not too afraid of it. I think the more information in the hands of patients, the right information, good information, the better.
Yeah, but certainly a lot of that information is coming from outside of our health systems,
Sure.
and it's fed by all of that data that they captured from us without our permission.
Sure.
Right? You have a unique point about that, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that while this technology is certainly transformational, at the core, it was built on copyrighted material, right?
Yeah.
And those companies made a bet. They made a bet that they could get away with it, and generally they are, right? They've got the capital to protect themselves from any legal actions or stuff like that. So I think we just have to acknowledge that. A lot of our hard work went into making those models fantastic.
Right.
I don't know how to solve for that. I'm not a lawyer, so
Right.
I think that's gonna play out. But I think it says something about the ethics, and these companies are profit driven. And again, that's not a bad thing. But I think we have to remember that that's what we're working with, right? So with that, we just have to use best practices. We have to. The most important thing we do is protect patient privacy. So that's going to have to continue to happen.
Yeah, and some of the things that your team works on is actually looking at improving the moments of that care experience.
Sure.
You were actually sharing about one that an agent that you've deployed to help people that maybe are veering off the online appointment scheduling journey to
Right.
kind of nudge them back in.
Yeah.
That sounds to me like kind of low stakes but high reward approaches.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's had a big impact, right? People don't always share with you or have the opportunity to share with you why they're exiting, right? And it may not be just because the UX is wrong, right? Maybe they didn't find the right time. Maybe, it could be a host of things. By being able to interact with them in that way, we're able to actually find out what it is. So one, we can take that and maybe improve the UX experience, but we also capture them in that moment and help them, again, what our job is, ultimately get them better care.
It's much better than doing a survey after the care event, 3 weeks later.
How did you like our website?
Right, exactly.
I mean, that's useless, really.
In this day and age, right?
Yeah.
You want to capture the signals of their intent as much as you can. Of course, privacy, we have to preserve privacy.
Absolutely.
But we want to capture their signals so we can understand that relationship better with us.
Right, and we can now. Yeah.
And that helps to engender trust they have with us as an organization.
Yep.
Because we are struggling with trust right now.
Yeah, and it's really frustrating to me that that's happening, because when you're in a health system and you work with caregivers every day, all they want to do is take care of patients. And what's frustrating is the trust, I think, is really being eroded because of the things that those clinicians can't always control, right? And we can control them. Some of it's technology, some of it's operational. Some are harder than others to fix, but we have the power and the opportunity to fix that trust issue. I really do believe that. And I think AI is going to be part of that. I think that's going to help us solve some of these operational problems and improve the overall care experience.
So that's like very optimistic, right?
Very optimistic.
But having been in this space for so long, I can understand, and I side with you on that. There is a potential here.
Yeah.
It's how we use it correctly. And you said this in the panel session that we were just talking about, where you said you look at AI as not as transformative as, I mean, it is transformative, but not like life-changing transformative. It's another tool in our toolkit to use.
Yeah.
So what are you most optimistic for the future?
Watching this all take place, right? I've been fortunate enough to be through a few of these cycles, but I think this one is going to blow them all away.
It sure will.
And I can't wait to see where it all goes.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, Brian, thanks for sitting down for a few minutes with us. I really appreciate sharing these conversations. I always like to talk to you, and it's even more special when we capture it on video.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Chris.